just going to keep an eye on people coming in here, and we'll go ahead and get started. I'm introduce myself. My name is Robert Trimbath. I'm the CTO for a company called AIO Integrations based out of Houston. We are a national company. AIO Integration stands for all in one. It means we are basically a technology company. Okay. We've been doing everything from business automation and into systems integration. We are a managed service provider as well as a managed security service provider, which is our core focus, is managed cybersecurity products. And we do it specifically for like the micro and small business market. That means home businesses and small businesses only. We really don't focus on anything larger than we can, and we do, but most of it is under 25 employees. Okay. So I have 34 years of experience in my field. I've done work for Dell on 2 continents. Been in the programming and OpenStack and LAMPstack for more than 20 years. So I've got a very diverse experience set, and I've been working exclusively with small businesses for most of that time, startups and small businesses. I currently sit on 6 board of directors as a technical advisor, and I'm active CTO for 4 companies right now. So that's where my experience lies in. Our company has kind of formed a partnership with Alignable to provide this kind of these series as part of their education series. And so we're not actually out here really promoting products. This is all about education on these live series. And it's meant to be, we want them to be open discussion. 2-way. We want to hear about it. I'm not going to kill you with PowerPoints. I'll share my screen occasionally as we talk about things and demonstrate things. But for the most part, this is a discussion, and we definitely want to invite your feedback. Okay. All right. No, a lot of people got mics muted. That's great. We're going to get in. Normally we present for about maybe 20-30 minutes about the topic, and then if you have questions along the way, don't raise your hand. And you're not sure where that is, there's a little place on the bottom of the app where you can raise your hand. Let me know. I will acknowledge you within a few minutes and have you chirp in. I know questions sometimes are fresh, and if you wait too long, you'll forget. That's just me getting old. I do that all the time. So now that I'm in my 50s, I'm finding that's a little harder to remember those things long term. So, all right. What we're going to talk about today, our topic in the Q Live, is going to be about business automation. Now, I would like you guys to unmute your mics for a minute because I want to hear a little bit of participation here about what you're using inside of your business. I'm going to be asking you some questions, and I just want to kind of hear some answers. I want to know how many people are using CRMs in their business.
Nope.
Do you know what a CRM is?
Nope.
Yeah.
Customer relationship management program. That would be like Salesforce, Sugar CRM, Thrive, HubSpot, anything that helps you manage your relationships with your clients. Does everybody or many of you use anything like that to manage your communications and your interaction with your clients?
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Has anybody considered, or is anybody looking for a better way to do that?
Well, Robert, let me ask, would that include sort of just like file management or, tracking our billable hours type stuff, or?
No, that's more about billing tracking. I'm talking about something that allows you to kind of instantly pull up and share with information between your employees, yourself, or anybody in your company. Be able to look in one spot, and I'll show you what I'm talking about in a minute through a screen share. But I mean, instantly be able to go in and tell what you've done for your client, see, your last communications with them, your emails, your phone conversations, your billing with them in one spot. Be able to see all that very quickly and be able to identify them when they call you or when they're texting you. Have your system automatically recognize them and know that that's them, and be able to go right into their record and see what know, and be able to add notes about what you're talking to them about. Does anybody use anything like that in their current business?
No.
I have previously, for some reason, I just haven't activated it, but I do have, I've been in CRMs for a while, Salesforce, and I have access to Thrive, and I'm also a Thrive partner. So I actually have clients who purchase Thrive through me. And I consult them on Salesforce as well.
I'm a Thrive partner as well, so I'm very familiar with who they are. I got to fix something there. There we go. I had to turn off my auto frame. It was, so for some reason it was giving everybody my forehead.
That's all that.
I was like, what in the world? NVIDIA Broadcast, I use that to kind of, kind of streamline and some of my stuff in the studio here. And it all of a sudden was giving people shots of my forehead. I'm like, what in the world? So the reason why these are important is I give you a good instance. We were consulting with some John Deere dealerships up north in North Texas. And one of the things we were talking about with them is, do you have any idea what your foot traffic is? No. Do you have any idea how many people call your dealership? Nope. Email it? Nope. There was no idea how many people he was actually talking to. And you got to realize a tractor sale for them is a lot of money. These are 6-figure deals. So, a tractor sale is a big money item up in North Texas. As it is, I'm sure, in parts of Kansas and things like that. We're letting some other people in here. So as you see them come in, they're just going to have to join mid-conversation and catch up. So it's really important for them to understand missed opportunities. That makes sense? Who's coming in and how many of those people are walking out without even knowing, finding out what we had to offer? Were we able to give our value proposition to them? Were we able to talk with them at all? What do we do with them? And how many of them were there? So we basically sat down with the owners. They had about 4 or 5 of them up in North Texas. And we said, listen, what if I could show you a way that I could tell you everybody that walked in your door? I could account for everyone that walked in your door. I could account for every phone call, every visitor to your website. And I could have you see it in one place. And you could be able to see every interaction you have with that client. Would that be valuable to you? And it wasn't even hesitation. It was, hell yeah, that would be valuable. And we have to think about it like that. Every conversation we have with somebody, regardless of whether it's in person or a chat or a email or whatever it is, those are opportunities. They might be opportunities for a reseller or a partnership. They might be opportunities to network market or build new relationships with vendors, or even as a customer. We don't know, but keeping track of those things and having us be able to see that in one place in our interaction with them helps us understand who these people are that we deal with and the value to our organization to it. It also improves your communication as a company as you grow. Some people start off with just a couple of people, but maybe in 2 years they've got 10, and now you've got customers calling in you've been doing business with. How do those people catch up with knowing your relationship with them because they're new? In a CRM, they're able to actually see those things, and I'll show you what I'm talking about in one place. A CRM is just one way of doing it. That's one business automation platform. But we're going to talk about that as that's kind of like the brain behind everything we're going to talk about today. So that's why we're talking about it first. It's kind of the database where everything is stored. So just think of the CRM as kind of the main brain, if you want. And it doesn't matter which one you're using. We're not here to sell a CRM. We're just here to tell you that using a CRM can improve your quality of business in a lot of different ways. Okay, so obviously I'm just on today's event for this. So I'm going to scroll over here and I'm going to show you an example of a CRM. Okay, so this is an example of a CRM. This is actually Zoho One, which we're a partner with alongside Thrive and some others. But Zoho One allows us to look at a company. This is one of my customers. It allows me to look at the company, see their contacts, and I can go into that person and I can see all sorts of things. I can put in descriptions here if I want. I can see my created time, my last contact with that client. I can see, because it integrates with Office 365 automatically, I can see all the emails show up here. And I can click on them to actually go look at these and read them without having to go to my email client. I can actually come in here and I can see my invoices with this client and what I've been charging them. I can look at subscriptions and services. I can look at help desk tickets. I can also look at anything. I can put attachments, but I can also look at my entire timeline of everything that's ever happened with this client is automatically there. There's an audit trail for it. So why are these things important? Because people within my company can see this information as well, and I can change what they see. Like they may not need to see finance information, but maybe they need to see the emails to understand the last time I talked to them and find an email where I was talking to them about a specific project. Those kind of things are important. I can store attachments here that are important to this client or this contact. I can do things like, let's say I've got a tech that needs to go out and perform a service. He can come in here and go, okay, I want to go out to this client. Let's find it on Google Maps. Oh, there it is. These things make our life simpler and easier to find and manage clients. When they call in, there's a little pop-up here that pops up and it says Leslie Johnson's calling. I click here and it goes right to their record and I can see them and I can instantly get access to everything they're doing. And that call automatically gets recorded in here. Now, I don't know if you can understand the benefits of that right off the top of your head, but I can tell you as your business grows, you get more people, you get things going on. Having this kind of collaboration allows you to streamline your business and use and share information and service your clients in a whole nother degree you couldn't without it. So this is the brain where everything's stored. Now, what's really cool about having something like this is not just a CRM, it's a business automation tool. So tools like this link with my help desk system. Okay. They link with my campaigns. Who here uses Constant Contact or a program like that to market to your clients? Anybody here?
I do.
Okay. And a lot of people do. And there's different ones. But this actually includes the ability to do email campaigns, and I don't have to go bring my stuff in and out. It automatically syncs to my CRM and tracks the results of those records, those campaigns with it. So if I want to go look and see what those people did, I can look at the activities, how many people opened. I can see who they are. These people are all in my database, and I can see how many times they looked at it. So I want to go look at opens. This person opened it 11 times. I can see things that I can't see in other types of programs. So having this kind of collaboration between things, it coordinates with our training program, coordinates with meetings and webinars, our ability to send out DocuSigns, a lot of things like that. What's really neat though is we can use these things to automate things within our business. So how many of you would think it would be useful that if you could automate a communication to a client, okay? You could automate a communication to a client based on things that you do with them. So in other words, if they bought something from you, you could automate a thank you. I appreciate it. Would you please go to Google and rate me? Rate your experience with me. And then maybe 2 weeks later, it sends out something else and says, hey, we really appreciate you doing business with us. If you refer us a client, we'll give you $25 off your next purchase or your next service or whatever it might be. But having those kind of automated things and turning customers into people that refer you, help you grow your business. And that is the kind of business automation I'm talking about. It can also get rid of a lot of busy work. For instance, those of you who have used Thrive is a very good example. They manage your social media for you. So they will automate posting of articles onto Google My Business or Facebook or Messenger or LinkedIn or whatever social platforms you're doing. Quadro Services, the company I just talked to you about, they hired Thrive just to manage their social media. They already have a CRM. They don't need that. So they hired them to manage the social media part. And it's about finding ways to take out the busy work in what you do. They're attorneys. They were too busy. They want to focus on their business. So they want somebody to handle managing that in such a way that they can see it happening. They can approve it as it goes out. And then they can just simply react to the things that happen. For instance, customer interactions, people asking about things. It all creates interest in what they do. So by automating these things and getting rid of that busy work, what they do is they enable themselves to stay focused on the true things that they're good at, and that is growing their business, servicing their clients, and not doing the busy work involved with a business. I'm going to give you a perfect example of how automation can work in a couple of different ways. Okay. We worked with a staging company that teaches homeowners how to stage their site, how to stage their home when they list. And basically they did it all online. What they did is when they came in, they used a program like Zoho and they used a few different components of it. And what they did is they integrated it with their website. And so when they sent in a request, they could choose how they wanted to pay. They could say, we want to pay for our services now, which was cheaper, or they could choose to bill it to the closing company as part of their deal. So they could pay later when their house actually sold. And then the company would actually get it from the closing company when the house sold. And then they would instantly go into a booking appointment where they could choose a time with a designer. They chose a time that showed up on the designer's calendar because it was integrated with Google Calendar. And they simply showed up on the designer's platform. Here, you got a date, you have a date with this person on, had all the meeting links. And what they did is they used the phone's app. So there was an app for Zoho Meeting they could put on their phone, and they could use their camera to virtually, they did this during COVID. They used their camera to virtually tour their house. And the whole point of the service was to tell owners what they had to do to each room, like decluttering. Maybe they got a wall that's painted purple. Get rid of that. That isn't going to sell. You need to paint that wall a normal color like the rest of the house. And they help people understand what they have to do to make their home more marketable. There's too many personal pictures up. People have to picture, themselves in your home. And so what they did is they gave them a room by room list of everything they needed. They did this whole thing virtually. And by doing what they did, they were able to actually provide those services at a lower cost. Instead of paying a staging company $3,000 to stage their home, they paid a company like hers $300 to learn how to do it themselves. And they could implement whatever part of it they wanted, but then they would do part of it before the photographer would come out. That way they got really good pictures. This helped them market and sell their home faster. And then they didn't even have to pay it up front. For a little more money, they got it taken out of their deal when it closed, and the closing company wrote them a check. So we helped them automate that whole thing through software. And all they had to do was service the appointments that were booked. So they didn't have to worry about it. They didn't have to have a person to schedule. All they had to do is promote their business and service the business that came in, and make sure that on the billing side that it got collected. So they were able to handle hundreds and hundreds of bookings with 2 people.
Oh, wow.
We did the same thing for an attorney company, for a company, the company I just mentioned to you, Quadro. So Quadro Services is a company that does quadros. If you're not familiar with quadros, anybody who's been divorced and had to divide up retirement assets, there's a legal instrument called a quadro that is specifically for dividing the marital retirement assets that come from, like retirement plans and things for government, for companies, for like Shell and Exxon and other companies. And there's literally thousands of different quadros. What we helped them do is we built an automation system that would let them take intake from their website. They could fill out a form directly on their website, and I'll take you and show you kind of what that looks like. So you don't have to imagine that. I can actually kind of give you an example and show you how that works. So let me share out my screen one more time. And I'm doing this for the sake of helping you understand what an actual, I'm going to share out my whole screen this time in case I have to change tabs. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to give my participant list over here because I have people still kind of joining in, and I missed 1 or 2 of them, and I want to make sure we don't miss any more. I missed like 2 or 3 that were trying to come in while we were talking. Okay. So we're going to bring up their website, see if I'm right. Okay. So this is their website. All right. And for people that want to get started with their services, this is a form that's actually hosted. You can see here it's got steps to it, and it saves their progress as they go along the way. So they're able to actually put all this information online, and it stores into the back end, right into their CRM. When they complete this, when it's finished, depending on the type of quadro that they chose to do, it selects a template out of the system, automatically merges all their information they put in, and creates an actual legal draft and sends it to the attorney that it's been assigned to. that does those quadros within the company based on the type. So instead of a paralegal having to do that from scratch, this stuff gets written directly into the database. So there's no translation, there's no error there. It's whatever the customer put in is what gets put into the system. And then that information directly gets put into the legal draft. And all the attorney has to do is literally review it, do a little tweaking to it, and basically send it off to the client to review. So we basically took 2 people out of the entire process, start to finish, and then they collect for it because they have to put their financial information and how they're going to pay for it on as part of this application. They already know how to pay for it, who's paying for it, and where to get the money from for it. It might be the attorney, it might be the opposing counsel's attorney, but they know who to bill for that application for that application that was posted. But my point is this was a little 5-person family company that's existed for 2 generations. They came to us a few years ago and said, listen, we have so much stuff. We're managing stuff with spreadsheets. We really want to find a way to handle more business without having to hire more people. They now handle almost 10 times the amount of business with this exact same amount of people. It helped them scale, and they don't have to hire more people in order to process more business. That's one of the best things. And for the, I actually got a thank you from these people telling me that they're able to finally take vacations. They're actually able to step away from their business for weekends and holidays and feel like their business is going to be there running when they get back. You guys know, as small business owners, just like me, that you eat, sleep, dream, work, right? It's a part of your life as being a business owner. And the less you have to worry about it being there or things being taken care of, things being done correctly, if you know those things are part of a process that is being handled and being done automatically, and it's less dependent on people making mistakes, you can actually take that part out of your head, that worry out of your head, and you can step aside and focus on the things that were really important in your business, like better customer service, more attention to your customer, and doing your job better, growing your business, those kind of things. So this is how automation, these are just 2 examples of how automation can help a business. Business automation is very huge. In today's technology with AI, we can even do a lot more. We're working right now with a company that wants to develop a new medical application that's going to use. How many of you have seen these AI-based training? You actually pick a person, like an avatar. It's a fake person, but it looks real. And you type in what you want it to say, and it says it very human-like. Okay, there's services that do this for people to be able to create training videos. We're helping them create an interactive experience for people to find the proper health care for mental and abuse and substance abuse and things like that. They'll be able to pick whether they want to talk to a male or a female avatar or virtual person, and the language in which they want to talk to them in, because AI doesn't need to have a version for every language. It just has to have the English version and know that it can convert it in real time to any language you specify. So we're able to make a tool that can communicate with virtually everybody and make it a more human experience. Instead of just a static web page, it's something that actually talks and interacts with them. And as they point and click and answer questions, talks back to them based on the answers they choose. Pretty cool stuff. But that is how business automation works now. And so I'm going to cap it off with that. I've spent about 25 minutes talking about some examples, and I want to hear some questions. Does anybody have any questions or anything they want to ask about their business, or how they feel, are an example of something where they've seen business automation helping their business? Nobody here has used any kind of business automation before.
Nope.
No.
Okay, wow. Okay, can you guys tell me what kind of businesses you're in? I'm going to start with you, Andrew. What kind of business are you in, Andrew?
Yeah, so I run operations for a law firm, and so
okay.
we use Clio to track the hours, the billable hours for the attorneys, and we are building out the contacts and trying to integrate emails, schedules, calendars. So we're moving towards more automation with our clients, and now Clio incorporates a lot of AI. So as their products roll out, we're going to figure out how to use them to, to basically get our profiles of our contacts and our clients and everything, get it going without the attorneys having to input all this information.
That's excellent. And we actually did a special. We did an episode here on how you can use Teams to manage cases. We just did something on that about 3 weeks ago. A lot of people have Office 365 and don't realize that Teams is a great way to use is a great use case for case management, and it's built into what you already pay for with Office 365. And most people have no clue that integrates with things like SharePoint and OneDrive in a way that you could actually replace file servers and your professional document management programs with it.
Right. So actually, thank you for that part as well, because right now we use Google. I forgot whatever the product is to manage our emails. We use Zoom for our virtual, meetings.
Yep.
But we have Office 365, but I don't know if we have to pay extra for Teams, because we don't use Teams now.
It's included with Office 365 with every single version.
Okay.
Most people don't understand Teams is not just a conferencing product. It is actually a collaboration tool. It is much, much more. We did a couple of videos on it. If you check out the link that we have, like in this group, we have a link to past videos, and we have some videos up on that. You should definitely go check it out. And if you want to know more about it, I'd be happy to talk to you about it offline. Okay?
Okay. Right. My only roadblock, then I'll wrap it up. My only roadblock is probably getting the principal of my firm to be willing to switch from the, Gmail over to.
There's a lot of reasons why you'd want to do that. And the biggest one is you're using the biggest hacker and the biggest spread of malware and hacker communication in the world is done on Gmail.
Perfect.
You're sharing those very same servers with those people. They do not separate their commercial platform from their free platform. It's all on the same infrastructure. So that means the biggest spammers, the hackers, everybody is using those Gmail accounts is on the very same infrastructure you are.
Right. And the beauty of that switch would be, like, our email is our law firm, our law firm name. So we won't have to change anything with our clients if we were to switch. We can keep
just
our
changing
domain.
who hosts it. Yep. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And Microsoft's platform is much more friendly. We don't recommend anything outside that for commercial hosting, but Microsoft, mainly just because the platform is a 100% enterprise platform when you pay for it. You are not on none of the free infrastructure.
Got you. That is perfect. I will follow up with you as soon as I get my ducks in order. I definitely want to.
Yeah, would love to have a conversation with you, and I'll leave you guys with a link at the end of this on our website. I'll share our website where to go to put your information in and how to schedule a consult with me. First hour is free. We go in and we work with all types of business owners, and we kind of help point you in the right direction. If there's something we can help you with and we can do more, then great. If we can't, then hopefully we'll put you on the right path.
Thank you.
Anybody else with any questions?
Who do you recommend to use if not Gmail?
Oh, Office, Microsoft Office, absolutely. Mainly because the platform is truly an enterprise product, and you're not on shared infrastructure with hackers and spammers. Spammers aren't allowed to use any of the paid infrastructure within Microsoft, and they are much more vigilant about keeping them off. In fact, if you look at almost all the stuff that's sent to you by spammers, hackers, and the people that are even demanding ransoms for Bitcoin and stuff from ransomware, it's all coming from Gmail, almost all of it.
Okay.
So yeah, I definitely, and I will tell you, if you're having any problems with deliverability where your stuff is being somehow put into spam, I would definitely be looking at that making a platform change. We fixed more of those problems by moving that to Microsoft. I'm not saying Gmail is bad. I'm just saying that for a lot of people, because of the way its infrastructure is, you can get put on a lot of spam lists. You can get your stuff automatically put in spam by accident. And we found Microsoft's platforms to be less resistant to that, or have a lot less of that happen. And we fixed that instantly just by making those changes. Hey, Ernest, how are you? I see Ernest.
I am well.
Background. Ernest is
How are you doing?
He's actually a cybersecurity specialist, kind of collaborates with the channel here and actually presents as well. It's good to see you, buddy. Are you in Are you down in Puerto Rico or are you stateside?
I am in Puerto Rico this week.
Okay. He
I'm
traveled.
jealous. I'm in Jersey. It's cold and snowy here.
It's hot. It's 81, maybe 82 here today. Sunny.
Yeah. Mm.
Tough.
Isn't it always like that in Puerto Rico though? Isn't that like the 80% of the year it's like 80 and humid?
Pretty, yeah, and it all depends. If you're in the mountains, it's less humid. Close to the beach, it's more humid. And like last week, it was rainy in the States, so it was rainy here. So we were seeing days that were 75.
Oh wow.
So tough.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah,
he's
no,
got a
it's-
long life. I feel for him. He's in the
Well, my other location is Florida, but Florida has been getting cold weather.
Oh, please.
You got a lot of northeasterns here, the easterns here, New York.
Where I'm from
New Jersey.
originally. I'm originally from Philadelphia.
There you go.
There you go. So any other questions about anybody else using any kind of business automation or tried it, want to try it, had an interest in it?
Is one better than another for different types of businesses?
It really depends on what you want to do, and what your budget is. I like Zoho One because Zoho One, especially for like a CRM and automation, they have an entire business suite that you can do that licenses for about $45 a person when you do it for your company, and it gets you access from everything from accounting to, it is an entire HR. It does everything, and so it's kind of like an Oracle NetSuite for small business. And it's a dynamite product. They've actually been around for more than 25 years. They've been growing like a weed, and they're in 117 countries. And what's nice is if you're in the U.S., you're a client here in the U.S., your data stays within the U.S. So you're using U.S. data centers. It's HIPAA, PCI compliant by default. They integrate with more people, more companies, both telecommunication companies, Google, Microsoft, different mail systems. They're just probably one of the most best platforms to integrate with other platforms with for automation. So that's why I like them. But there are others. HubSpot is one a lot of people like. I think they will as you grow, they'll nickel and dime you to death. Thrive is very good. I think Thrive is very good for more of retail, like point of sale, retail, or light service industries. If you're doing anything that requires like an attorney where you need case management, things like that, not a good solution. So
No,
like
mine's
anything
in
else,
the medical.
in medical, we're actually building a medical application for Zoho to do case management for referrals. We're not actually doing the managing medical records. We're just managing referrals and the records around those referrals. And we're doing that in Zoho. So that's very doable. Any kind of a CRM that allows you to have a high degree of customization, like adding your own modules and things, you want to look at the amount of programmers that are available to work on it. Like Zoho is a very known international program, so there's a lot of people that work in it. Be very careful about getting around platforms that are very specialized, where not a lot of people know about it. Like in the dental and medical, like dental, we work with some things like TDO for endo in the endodontics area and CareStream, and those are very proprietary systems that don't really play well with a lot of other things. So it just depends on what you're doing. It doesn't mean they're bad systems. Those are specifically designed for specific applications. And if that's all you're going to do, it does a very good job of that. But if you need it to integrate with anything else, that's where you start running into issues. So
Yeah,
just got to be aware. It's always
thing-
good to have, let's put it this way. I tell people this when it comes to technology, okay? And this is the truth. A lot of people just wing it in technology. You have to look at this like a doctor. If your wife or your spouse has cancer, are you just gonna wing it? Or are you gonna go try to find the best professional you can in that industry to steer you to the right resource? That's what you got to look at it like.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's like trying to get a doctor to fix your car or a mechanic to fix or to do heart surgery. It just doesn't work. Talk to a technical professional or somebody in the field that has experience both from the business side of it and from the side of and some expertise or people within their team from the programming side who can look at it from both sides. it's very important that not only do they understand the technical aspect of what your requirements are, but they understand how it relates to your business financially. Does it make sense? Um, a good, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, so I know this is more cybersecurity related.
Okay.
Okay, so I recently came across a product called Stream PC, and I guess some of the benefits was that it is all in the cloud, and you wouldn't have to purchase any actual hardware, such as I guess the PC and the laptops,
Yep.
and that would secure your data from the
There's a
cloud.
lot of different ones doing that now. It's called Desktop as a Service, or DaaS, is what the abbreviation for it. Desktop as a Service. Microsoft actually does that straight out of Office 365 or Microsoft 365. If you look up Windows365.com for about, depending on what you license, between $28 to $35 a month, you can do that, and it integrates right in with your Office 365 subscription. Yeah, that's something that Microsoft does now, straight, and it's fully integrated with Office.
Yeah, I don't know, Eric, if you're a sole practitioner and you are one person, the annual for the 365 is $99 a year. So it's really affordable for people that are sole practitioners.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And you don't get any less of the commercial platform than anybody else does. That's probably one of the best things about it. It's a really great platform. I can tell you that as a company, I've used it through eight individual companies that I've been a part of as startups. And we've never had issues. We've liked it. We've stayed with it. And right now, every company I work with uses it. With the exception of two. We got two that use Google and like it. And we're not trying to, let's put it this way. My object is never to try and necessarily persuade somebody from using one platform or the other. If you got a favorite and you like it, by all means use it. But there are advantages to certain platforms over another. And people need to be aware of it. And some will affect the security of what you do, as well as the sharing of that information. Getting back to what you were talking about, cybersecurity. So Stream PC is one. There's many. There's some that are aimed towards gamers that are more expensive, and there's some that are just business environments. And there are lots of spin-offs. I was VP of a data center here in Houston, owned a private data center, and they did desktop as a service, but they were very, very niche and very expensive as a result of that. So just, do some due diligence with them. You want to make sure that they're going to be one, that their stuff is based in a tier 3 data center, which is going to be a data center with triple redundancy to the internet. They're going to be running redundant power sources and redundant environmental services. A lot of people don't realize that inside of a data center, there are different tiers. And they also, by being tier 3, they're also going to be HIPAA and PCI compliant. So there's some things that go along with those. And most of them will guarantee what we call the 5 nines. That means that they're going to guarantee, nobody guarantees 100% uptime. 5, very rarely you'll find 6, but 5 nines is probably the most common. That means 99.999% of the time they're guaranteeing you're going to be up. That's how redundant they are. That means they're running redundant hardware, redundant air conditioning, redundant generators, redundant power, triple redundant internet. And they've been, if they're tier 3, they've also been independently audited by an outside source for compliance. And that's very important. But desktop as a service is not new, but it is starting to touch into the small business market because, you don't have to buy any hardware. You can use any kind of device to connect to desktop as a service. You can use a tablet, a Chromebook, you can use a Mac or Windows or whatever PC you have, and it keeps your environment completely separate from your personal environment. And you can access it from anywhere you have a decent internet connection. So it's definitely, a very good solution.
I have a question for everybody.
Go for it.
I have actually a couple. So is there anyone on this call that is not using multi-factor authentication?
That would
Doesn't
be
seem
me.
Okay. You need to go and make sure that you are applying that across everything, your bank accounts, When you go to your bank account online, you can go into the security options and it'll say, do you want either dual or multi-factor? And you say, yeah. And what the difference there is if somebody somehow does a brute force or some attack, it still has to come to your phone to tell you that someone's trying to enter. Do you want to let them enter? And you can stop that from happening. The other thing now is for those of you that are, we're all connected to the internet. If you're using your own personal router, make sure that it is up to the latest version of software. The Chinese have been attacking routers, home-based, small business routers, and they're using that to leap into the United States government facilities, different departments, agencies, and things like that. And what's really scary is they don't care to get money out of you, but they're going to steal your data and sell it. The real attack is that they want to attack the United States government, but if they can get onto your router, they can get to your data and they're going to take your data. So make sure that's up to date and that everything that you're doing is multi-factor.
A lot of you may be using the routers too that are default from your provided by like your internet provider like Comcast or AT&T. If it's over a year old, you might want to contact your support for your environment and make sure that one, that they have it up to date, and two, if it isn't, ask them to provide a replacement, which they'll usually do at no cost for you. That's very, very important because those do go out of date after a while. And if you got anything older than 2 or 3 years old, they're going to just give you a new one. Almost always.
I was just going to say, I can share with you that I go in and I take a look at my authenticator, usually about once a week, and they have been attacking me from around the world, but they're not getting anywhere because of the multi-factor. But I can see who's attacking me. And one of them came from Washington, D.C., but Vietnam is popular, Germany, Netherlands is now becoming more popular, China.
Philippines?
I haven't been hit by the Philippines yet. A lot of Vietnam, a lot of Turkey, a lot of Germany, some French. Like I said, Washington, D.C. was the interesting one. And they somehow got through to the point where it said, do I want to let them in? So they either somehow guessed a password or they had the device that goes and just randomly does a brute force. And I said, no, don't let them in. So that blocked them, and they're, they become part of a list that gets blocked on my phone. So they got to try to use new IP addresses, and I can see the IP addresses and the various things. So it's really helpful having, authenticator.
That actually happened to me a few years ago with Facebook. Someone from Vietnam got in. I didn't have second authentication, and they got into my Facebook account and just hijacked it, just took it over. I couldn't even get back into it.
Well, and I had a friend, I have had several friends that have been hit by Facebook. And something's up because you start getting messages from them. Hey, do you want to buy this? Or do you want to buy that? Or, hey, I need some money because I got in trouble. So you can tell that when you get those messages from some people that their account has been hit.
Well, there's something very interesting. I'm gonna say this because it has to be said. So one of the guys from our last cybersecurity meeting, called me. He and I had a nice discussion offline about what he needs to do. He didn't actually act on it yet, but he called me on Friday, and he called my business line. It was 4 o'clock my time, 5 o'clock his. He's on the East Coast. He's in Florida, and he unfortunately fell victim to a pop-up to clickbait that popped up from a browser exploit that told him that Microsoft found a breach on his computer. He needed to call a number. He did that. He installed software that those people directed him to and ended up compromising his computer. He called me after he'd already did this and I think I did something wrong. I said, yeah, you did. I said, you need to unplug that computer and get it over to somebody to fix right away. And he did that. Unfortunately, it was after 5 on a Friday, which meant that what he could, type of professionals he's limited to was very limited at that point to do over the weekend. But it's funny. I'm gonna say this, and I always feel that these things are common sense to me, but they're obviously not to everybody. Never will Microsoft or any antivirus company propose a phone number for you to call in anything. Okay. These people often don't want to talk to you. They don't advertise their phone number. Go try and find a phone number for Microsoft to the public that says, call me. It's very hard to find. And most of it is into channels or channel management or things like that. But there's no real consumer numbers that they really advertise out there saying, call me. That's the last thing they're going to do. Anything like that, if you have anything like that pop up on your screen, it is almost always browser driven, which means hit Control Alt Delete on your computer. It's going to bring up a blue screen with some menu options. Choose Task Manager and just go right over and find your instance. If you're using Chrome, it'll say Chrome.exe. If you're using Edge, it'll say Microsoft Edge or Edge.exe. And Firefox, it'll be the same. It'll be either Firefox or Mozilla Firefox. Highlight an instance and just kill it. Okay, highlight it and end task. And what you will find is that will go away. When you restart your browser, it's going to ask you if you want to restart your previous session. Say no. What happened is you either hit an infected website or a website that was looking for exploits within the browser. Either one is a bad thing. And it has basically taken advantage of a vulnerability that drives a pop-up to you. It is not legitimate. Okay. All you have to do is kill the web browser and that will go away. You don't ever want to click anything within these windows. Assume zero trust. Just kill it. If in doubt, reboot. Close your system. Don't click on anything on it. Just reboot it. They'll get rid of it. I can tell you that if you click anything within those, you're going to get direct. Even the close button on it can redirect you to something bad.
Or open a Trojan horse. That's one of the problems that's been happening most recently. Do not open any attachments from anyone you don't know. A PDF receipt, a Word document. If you do not know who sent it to you and do not trust them, do not open it because they're installing Trojan horses. And it's not like it is with malware where they want ransom. They're getting on your machine and they're watching what you're doing so that they can steal passwords and other activities that you have so that they can go and either come back and steal from those accounts or buy products through the various websites that you use, especially if you don't have the multi-factor. That's why the multi-factor is so important now, because they'll make it through the first step with the password, but it'll come to you and say, do you want this? Do you want to open that session? Nope, and you kill it.
And they don't even need to observe. A lot of times they will install keyboard trackers so they can track what it is. It's a program that tracks what you type into each site. And when they do that, they don't even need to watch. It just records it like a tape recorder. And they can
but that's what I was talking about
from different places.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about with watching. What they're doing is they're recording it, and then they have an internal process that sends it every period to them. And then on their side, they're sitting there watching it with automation saying, okay, they're looking for keywords, like Amazon, things like that. And Amazon, okay, password, user, boom. And, that's how they build their list. And a lot of times they may not even go and do something on Amazon. They'll sell that information because it's worth more because other people will pay for it to go do that.
One of the interesting things, Ernest, talking about that, I talked one time about a client had a really high-end restaurant here in Houston, and they got infiltrated that way they downloaded a loan amortization spreadsheet, a free one. It happened to be corrupted. So when they opened it, it had a macro that installed a rat. RAT is a remote access Trojan. That actually allowed the hacker to put in TeamViewer on the computer for him to legitimately start getting into the computer remotely. And what he would do is he actually got into their office account because this guy, particular owner of this restaurant, would leave his computer logged in. And he got on this computer and he basically got into his Office 365 account and he created a connector to their mail server in the Philippines. And so every message that was being sent back and forth to their suppliers everywhere was sending a copy to that mail server in the Philippines. So that means when they did password resets, trying to get rid of these guys, it would resend them to password resets. I mean, they basically spent a week before they paid for professional remediation to get it done. And we were able to get them out in a day, or, basically took a day to get them out and a couple of days to clean everything. But we were able to get them out of their life and get them back to business within 2 to 3 days. But they were not able to process payroll, send email anymore, because once Microsoft realized what happened, they cut off their email flow. So now they can't email, they can't do anything for payroll or order supplies or anything. I mean, basically all their outbound email was dead.
And it's getting worse.
Yeah, and it is. It's getting way worse. It's the attacks right now. What he's talking about, FBI actually Homeland put out a fix to a lot of Linksys routers, an automatic fix to patch Linksys routers. Did you hear about that, Ernest?
I did, and what you need to translate for people, Linksys is Cisco.
Yeah.
And then the other
Linksys
one
is
was
owned by
Netgear.
Cisco.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's
And
the
so they-
biggest, I'm just gonna say that's the largest producer and product that's sold, right? So when you look at how many of those routers are out in society, they're the largest version of
Well, damn
routers.
Netgear, and then there's another one that was affected too, and that's very common that a lot of people use their low end. And I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's another Japanese or a Chinese brand. This is becoming a common thing. I actually did I did an episode last week for it's recorded. It's up on our channel, and it's called "Truth is Stranger Than Fiction," and it was about an attack that happened. And to give you an idea how clever these hackers are getting, they actually hijacked, they had malware installed on 3 million smart toothbrushes. Go figure. I can't make this stuff up. I'm telling you, it's true.
It's true.
3 million smart toothbrushes that orchestrated a denial of service attack on enterprise targets. These are what we call IoT devices or Internet of Things. That could be anything from your doorbell to a smart TV to an Alexis, Alexa, whatever it is, any kind of an IoT device like that. A camera in your house that's one of those little cheap cameras that goes to, for like a baby monitor, things like that. Those are IoT devices. And they actually hijacked 3 million toothbrushes and conducted attacks on enterprise sites. Where he's getting with this is it's getting worse. And Ernest brought this up because a lot of people, not as you know, there were some people here, do not use multi-factor authentication. By all means, use it. And the best ones to use will use the authentication apps like Google Authenticator or Microsoft Authenticator. By all means, those are really good because they integrate having to use your biometrics with them. Not only do you have to approve it, but then you have to use a thumbprint or a face ID to approve it. So it uses a combination of the device and the application and biometrics to make sure it's really you. So very, very important.
Yeah. And keep in mind, that's also for bank accounts, your Amazon account, your eBay account.
Yep.
Everything that credit cards, make sure, because if you don't, they are coming. And everything I'm reading, yeah. And they're even attacking the masters. There's a law firm out there that specializes in cybersecurity, and they hack them.
Yep. Well, everybody knows, I don't know if you know it or not, but last month, DOD admitted to being compromised. The Department of Defense, the people that are behind the cyber defense for the United States got compromised. If that doesn't tell you anything. So yeah, and that was done by the Chinese government of all things. The North Korean and the Chinese government have both been issues. So state actors are a very big problem right now. And one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is cyber security insurance does not pay out against state actors. That is called, they consider that to be an act of terrorism and they won't pay. It's basically written into the policies. We've argued to people about this and won every time. It's absolutely hilarious. Insurance companies are in the business to collect premiums, not pay out, and they have gotten their butts taken to the cleaners over the last 4 years over cybersecurity. So they have basically added so many exceptions to avoid paying right now that you basically have to have multi-factor authentication enforced on everything. Everybody in the companies has to have cybersecurity awareness training on a regular basis. And it's not just once a year now, it's like once a quarter because it changes. They have to basically be doing proactive security measures like managed cybersecurity or above average, basically a cybersecurity product, not just antivirus. So very, very important. Eric, hey, thanks for joining us. I see you got to go. We'll have the recording up for those of you who want to watch it or get some of this information back. I'm going to share something real quick, and I'm just going to put this out on the screen because this is the message that we've been trying to get to people for a long time. At the beginning of this year, we changed our website, and this is purely, I need you guys to understand the simplicity of this message. This message is what we are doing at the national event on the 28th. We did it already. We're actually emphasizing and creating a more targeted message about it. So you'll see what I'm talking about. But this is perfectly what I'm talking about. If you are using any kind of an antivirus product, you should be using something. But antivirus products do not protect you from hackers, period. None of them do. 94% of hackers breeze right past any of these products. They don't do anything to protect you. And a good example of that is what I just talked to you about the guy who called me on Friday. They do not hack computers anymore. They're hacking people because they are far easier to do. So there's a lot of things that have to happen. If you want to learn more about why, we actually posted up and created a video right here that talks about it, why it doesn't work. We got some real quick facts here. And if you click this, let's get started. This is just an informational thing where you can set up a time to talk to us about your business, about what you may need or not need, or just questions. And it leads right to a booking appointment with me to talk to you about what you might or might not need in your business. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free to you. We'd love to talk to you. I just want to make you aware that this is open to you, and anybody that is actually in our little group here and shows up, anybody from Alignable gets a 25% discount on all services from us. It's right here. And this will tell you about how to do that. I'm not going to do any more promotion above that, but I wanted you guys to understand cybersecurity is not the same thing as antivirus. Antivirus does nothing at all to protect you from how hackers are infiltrating. Hackers are infiltrating people through the exact method that Ernest talked about before, and that is they are getting into people's through email, social engineering, Facebook, that's Facebook, and other means like LinkedIn, and they're getting into people by attacking their lack of knowledge. And they take advantage of that. And once they're into your technology, they use that technology against you and everybody you know. Okay, so they found that hacking people is far more profitable than hacking networks. Doesn't mean they're not going after the big targets still, but right now small businesses are 63% of the hacking targets.
I just wanted to add something to that, Robert. There is
Okay.
now consortiums that do RAS. Now, RAS is ransomware as a service.
Yep.
And what's the other one? BitLock?
Yeah, there's a few, but the main one right now that's an issue is RAS, a ransomware as a service. That means if you're
Right.
like a disgruntled employee and you just happen to know or saw, somebody log in or have the credentials that can get you into things in the computer, in the net company that you shouldn't have access to, like maybe a QuickBooks password or administrator network access, and you've been fired, and you can basically contact this company and they will orchestrate a full-scale attack against this company for a portion of the profits with all their resources and go after you. And when I say go after you, we're talking about companies that they treat it like a business. They are in it for the money, period. This is a business. It's what they do. These people have a lot of resources, and this is all they do, and they're very good at it.
Yeah. And so you need to make sure that you're performing due diligence. A lot of the things that I've seen hacked, it is because organizations haven't put up barriers. They haven't put up walls. They want to keep everything open. Like, I believe it was Iran hacked the water company in Pennsylvania and shut down all the water service.
Yep. Two power
just because they
companies
could.
too. Two power companies in the United States too. It's a total
Right.
of, I think it's 5 infrastructure components now. 2 water, 2 electrical, and 1 gas.
Yeah. And that's because of poor cyber security.
Well,
So
a
make
lot
sure-
of them, Ernest, are independently owned. They're not managed by the government.
Oh, I know. I mean, that's the big problem is a lot of these places everybody wants to cut their budget for cybersecurity. And in the presentation that I gave, the cost is going into the billions, maybe the trillions.
Oh, it's in the trillions worldwide right now.
Yeah.
It's going up. Yeah.
So I mean, this money's coming from somewhere. And I mean, when we look at the ransomware, that was what viruses used to do, right? They'd get on your machine, they'd stop your machine from working, they'd say, send me Bitcoin or send me the Western Union, and I'll give you a code to release your machine. Now, it's not about viruses anymore. It's about control, and they're looking for the perpetuity of income, right? So once they hit you, they know you're going to pay. They become a service that you wind up paying for, and if you don't, your business is in jeopardy.
It's a
So-
double-edged sword because not only can they lock you out and prevent you from doing anything, but they also steal the information on top of it. And if you're a business that deals with any kind of HIPAA compliant information, personal information that is regulated by compliance, there are fines at $5,000 per incident. And so if they've stole 1,000 records, you're talking about a lot of money in fines that you will be responsible for as a business owner.
And that's only the beginning. So
Yeah.
that's the government coming in and fining you. Now, an
That's the
individual
fines,
whose records have been stolen is going to come and sue you. And what's the harm there?
Yeah,
Right? Did they wind up getting
third-party
$1 million
liability,
of bills?
third-party
Yeah.
liability from people that got compromised. Yep, that's exactly.
Yeah.
There's so many legal implications now, and it's not even funny. It's the cost in third-party liabilities is in the millions. So it is definitely not something. This is a thing that's a lot easier to prevent than it costs a lot less money to prevent it than it does to fix it after the fact. After the fact, you're most likely out of business and financially ruined over it. Preventing it is far less costly. Most people don't realize they can do a lot to prevent it for a small business. Probably half what they pay for their car payment would provide adequate protection for most small businesses, but they just don't. Factoring that out and not considering it as something you should be doing is not a smart thing. It's kind of like not paying for healthcare. Not having healthcare or health insurance is not a very smart thing to do. That could very seriously financially wreck you very quickly. Just one visit to the hospital. At the bottom, in fact, I'll show you exactly where it is, but let me put in the link first. Okay, so down here at the bottom, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's a thing that says awareness training. If you click on that, it will bring you to our training site. You can sign up. All it requires is your name and your email address just for you to verify. It'll send you an email to verify you're a real person. And then you can take either one of these courses. This is the one for employees. This one is actually in 3 parts, and you will be tested. So if you want to actually, as you go through these and you take them, you'll actually be tested on them. Afterwards, you'll get a certificate if you pass with 80% or above. And basically what we're testing you on is just to make sure you paid attention. They're on-demand videos. It will keep track of where you left off, so you can watch one and come back and do the other 2. All 3 of these take maybe an hour and a half. It's not crazy time. This will give you a certificate that you took it from us, and you can use that for discounts for your insurance. The other one is going to be for families. This one is a special one we started doing when we realized that it was contributing to the suicide rate for teens. So we did one. There's 3 parts. There's one part that you can watch with any kids in the family that are using
I'm trying to find
technology.
out where you are to come there, honey.
Okay, I'm going to show you right now. And the other 2 are right here. If you look in the chat box, I sent over an email, an address for a website. The cybersecurity awareness here, one's for the whole family. These 2 are just for parents. It's more about digital parenting. It's about tools and things you can use about what happened, what they're doing with social media, and how they're putting that together with information they're getting from schools to target children. And then also about creating boundaries to digital parenting tools and things you could use to help track your kids' online activities and keep them safe. So, and both of these courses are completely free. So We do it as a community service, and we've been doing it for over a year as a community service. We have a whole new updated one that will be out by the end of the quarter.
Thing I want to add to that, Robert, the certificate is very important for the discount for insurance. But as a consultant, I work with companies all the time. And when they try to acquire a new contract with a third party, a lot of times they want to see a compliance program that shows certificates taken by employees and the cybersecurity by all the individuals, because they won't do business with you if you can't prove to them that you have some sort of cybersecurity plan. So the certificate gives the companies the ability to be able to sign on with other companies. And you may need to ask for those certificates from people that you are going to deal with. So that's something to keep in mind. In this day and age, the compliance for cybersecurity is becoming more rigorous, and we're looking at more and more. I was working for a company, I was consulting with a company, and we had to fill out a 500-page basically synopsis of how we deal with all the security for the company so that they could contract with us to perform, because they were a national provider. So that these certificates are very important. And you may find that when you do get contract with somebody, that you need to show them, like quarterly results of your team being, or you being, you have the certificate to show that you've been compliant with cybersecurity. So just be aware of that.
Some even require now, Ernest, so there's programs that actively phish their environment, like KnowBe4 and stuff like that, for active training. And that is actually becoming more and more common now. What KnowBe4 does is they integrate with the platform, with the companies in such a way that they actively phish the employees to see who is at risk and who is not, who is falling for those things and who is not. And it teaches them in real time. So they click on something they're not supposed to. It says, oops, you did something you shouldn't. This is what you fell for. This is what you shouldn't have done. And it teaches them in real time. And they're actually requiring that level now in some cases, especially with larger companies and schools.
Yeah, and it's funny. I was consulting for Microsoft a couple of years ago, and of course, being a consultant, I had my own Microsoft email account. And it was interesting when you would get something that appeared to be phishing, they would say, "Are you sure you want to open this?" Right? Because it wasn't from one of the common domains that they were used to, right? So if it was unusual, they would say, "Are you sure?" Right? So that confuses me with that and the executives being phished, because recently Microsoft's executive email was hacked.
Yep. So most common phishing you're seeing right now, at least what we're seeing out in the field, is people getting sent receipts for antivirus products, saying that you just renewed for Norton for a full year and you spent $400, and they send you a picture of a receipt in a PDF. Delete it. It's not real.
Yeah. Do not open it.
Yep. All you'll do is infect yourself. You're seeing this for all kinds of security products. This is a phishing attempt, or an invoice receipt for something that you didn't purchase. These are all attempts to get you to open something, to go, wow, I didn't purchase that. And you open it up, or you call somebody and you end up getting people into your system that you shouldn't have. These are all phishing attempts and playing on your ability to, or your lack of knowledge between what's legitimate and what's not. Exercise zero trust with email. If you get something that you're not sure about, and let's say, it sends you something and you're a Norton subscriber, and it sends you something about Norton, don't trust the email, delete it, go log into your own account on the browser and look for yourself. Don't ever trust the emails or any of the links in them. Same thing with Netflix, Hulu, UPS, anything like that. Do not trust
PayPal.
Yeah, just if it's email and it's telling you something, say, oh, well, that's great information. Maybe I'll check that. But don't check it through the email. Just delete the email and look for yourself later. Do not trust anything in email right now. Zero trust is your best and only method of avoiding these kind of scams. And remember that nobody calls you and said, nobody's going to notify you with a phone number until your computer's broken or that you have a virus. Call this number. All that is illegitimate. Just Close the browsers, get rid of all the browser element on your screen. It'll go away, and don't restore it, and you'll be fine. Worst case scenario, you don't know how to do that, just reboot your computer and it will go away.
Yeah, and additionally, if you do get something from Microsoft, like he said, delete that email, go into your Microsoft account. So,
Yes.
when you're on your screen, you can go into your account, you can see what's going on there. You can open a help request and say, hey, I received an email from the support team. Is there really a problem with my account? And, that way you're in control of that communication.
All right, you guys have a great week, and we'll post the recording up. We're going to try and have it up by no later than Monday, preferably Friday. So we'll have it up here for people that want to watch it, and we'll have it posted within the group. Okay, thanks for joining us, Ernest. Good always to see you again. Thanks for contributing.
Sure, glad to do it.
All right, see y'all later. Have a great week.
Hi, I'm Robert with AIO Integrations. We provide top-of-the-line cybersecurity solutions. Don't be fooled. There are numerous digital threats that can destroy your company's ability to do business. Hacks, ransomware, employee error, and nefarious actors can take your business down. For some reason, people have been sold the myth that antivirus protects them from hackers. Nothing could be further from the truth. The fact is that hackers don't hack networks in small business, they hack people. And then they infiltrate and do what they need to do after they have already gained access through people. But people are their first and most reliable way to get into your business. AIO CyberGuard not only protects your business by monitoring it 24/7 for threats and protecting your endpoints, but we train your employees on how to recognize those threats very easily, and we protect your business with a $1 million financial protection plan. You need to ensure that your business stays in business. We make sure that it does.